Listen, Donald Trump is a piece of shit. Okay, we know that. Yes. He is. He is.
The room froze. Cameras zoomed in as Jasmine Crockett leaned forward, voice steady but burning with controlled fury. The crowd didn't expect it, not from a congresswoman facing Donald Trump himself. His trademark grin vanished. The silence that followed stretched long enough for every viewer to feel the tension vibrating through the air. 32 seconds of absolute stillness. No smirk, no counterpunch. Just Trump, staring as Crockett's words echoed like a gunshot in the chamber. People online would later replay that pause frame by frame. The blink, the nervous breath, the shifting jaw. It wasn't just a reaction. It was the first time in years that Trump seemed to lose his script. Crockett had just cracked the armor that millions believed was unbreakable. The confrontation didn't come out of nowhere. For weeks, Trump had mocked Jasmine Crockett on stage, calling her low IQ, dismissing her as irrelevant and sneering at her confidence. His supporters laughed, thinking she would never dare strike back face to face. But tonight, she walked into the debate hall ready, not with rehearsed lines, but with evidence, precision, and the kind of composure that terrifies men like him. He started the evening with his usual swagger, joking about the angry Democrat who, as he said, should be thanking me for the ratings. But something in his tone faltered when she met his eyes. It wasn't a political show anymore. It was a reckoning. Crockett didn't waste a second. She cut through his opening monologue, her voice sharp enough to slice through applause. The audience leaned forward, realizing this wasn't another soundbite exchange. This was personal, live, and raw. Trump raised his hand to interrupt, but she didn't yield. Every word she spoke landed like a counterpunch, hitting harder than any insult he could summon.
The fact that you just got done engaging in a conversation where we have a president of the United States who has no idea about the oath that he just took on January 20th tells me everything that I need to know. He didn't even have good sense enough in that same interview to say something as simple as, yes, I will follow the Constitution. You know, the thing that actually derived from the oath that he was supposed to take. And he supposedly took an oath, which there's a lot of people that point out that he never put his hand on the Bible, even though he acts as if he could somehow be the Pope.
Crockett's voice thundered through the hall. The words weren't just aimed at Trump. They were a statement to the nation. Every sentence carried years of frustration, every pause filled with truth he couldn't control. She reminded him of every broken promise, every reckless statement, every time he twisted power into personal gain. Trump tried to laugh it off, but the sound came out hollow. "That's not true," he muttered, waving his hand like he could swat her words out of the air. But she didn't stop. Her tone climbed higher, sharper, slicing through his defenses. "You took an oath, and you broke it," she fired back. "You talk about patriotism, but you don't even understand the Constitution you swore to uphold." For the first time, he didn't have a comeback. His jaw clenched. His fingers tapped the podium, desperate to find rhythm in a moment he couldn't control. The crowd could feel the shift. The energy was no longer his. Crockett had turned the stage into her courtroom, and Trump was standing there as the only witness who didn't want to testify.
I mean, when you have low IQ people like Crockett, she's a very low IQ person.
He finally snapped. The insult came out like a reflex, the same tired line he had thrown at her for months. But this time, it didn't land. The room didn't laugh. The audience didn't cheer. The silence that followed was heavier than the insult itself. Crockett didn't flinch. She looked straight at him, a small, knowing smile tugging at the corner of her mouth. "Is that all you've got?" she asked, voice low but cutting. "Because I will always be smarter than you." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Cameras caught Trump's expression. Disbelief first, then a flash of anger, and finally something unfamiliar. Hesitation. For the first time, the master of dominance politics stood cornered, exposed not by scandal or evidence, but by confidence. Reporters in the room could sense history unfolding. They typed furiously, trying to capture the tension, the reversal of power that no one had seen coming. 32 seconds of silence followed again, the kind that defines careers. The silence, stretched like an eternity. Trump's eyes darted toward the crowd, searching for an ally, a reaction, a lifeline, but none came. The cameras stayed locked on him, the light harsh and unblinking. Those 32 seconds became the longest of his public life. Every second chipped away at the image he had built for years, the untouchable, unstoppable force of confidence. Crockett stood firm, no smirk, no victory pose, just calm authority. She didn't need to gloat. The moment spoke louder than any headline. Even Trump's closest aides later admitted they had never seen him so completely frozen. Online, the clip spread like wildfire. Analysts counted the pause frame by frame. 32 seconds of defeat, one headline read. Hashtags erupted. At Crockett silenced. Trump, hashtag 32 seconds, power shift. What had started as a verbal clash became a cultural moment. In that silence, something shifted. It wasn't just about politics anymore. It was about truth, courage, and a woman who refused to be belittled. As the broadcast faded out, her final words still echoed in the air. Calm, final, undeniable. Next time you speak about me, make sure you can finish your sentence.